Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Zenitin, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be going over the latest patch for Legends of Runeterra. So we got a new patch, and yeah, you know what that means. We're going to go over the patch notes, like I said. There's a lot to unpack here, so with that all said, let's get right into it. No need to dilly-dally and just talk about nothing. So let's see here. Patch 1.2 features our first balance changes since the debut of Rising Tides, as well as a bunch of card clarity updates. Also, for a limited time, you can permanently unlock an exclusive Rainbow Portal Guardian and accompanying emote for free. So go do that. Just head to the store and purchase the bundle for 0 coins. As a reminder, starting with this patch, we're adjusting how we patch Legends of Runeterra to make sure everyone gets to play on new versions as simultaneously as possible, regardless of platform or location. The short version is we'll continue to patch every other Tuesday, 10 a.m. PT, but you usually won't see changes until about 24 hours later. Full details here. I'll also include a link below in the description of the video to the patch notes so you can read them yourself and actually click on all of these links to wherever they go. Now, before we get into the card changes, we got some dev notes, it seems. Let's see what they say. I don't want to read them too much. I just want to skim them. What's next for Runeterra? Basically, Jeff Jew and Andrew Yip are almost ready to share the details on what's coming up next for Runeterra with a video on May 29th. All right. As for balance and rising tides, during open beta, we learned some important things about live design and balance. Thanks again for the feedback. And we're using these lessons to add some additional metrics to our existing arsenal we use to help us decide what to change and how we do it. And since we have new players, welcome again, I'll first recap our existing goals and metrics, then cover what's new. I like communication. This is nice to hear. Our overall goal for live balance remains to maintain a fair and diverse metagame where every champion's gameplay dream can be realized. I feel like they're doing that okay-ish at the moment. There's a couple of champions which are kind of mediocre at the moment, like Shen, Vladimir, Teemo, etc., etc. Anivia is kind of bad too. But where was I? I've completely lost track of where I was in terms of reading this. Oh yeah. It's important to note that we don't expect all champions to be equally competitive at the highest level. However, we do want achievable gameplay moments for all of them. I mean, we're kind of getting that right now. Almost. In order to achieve this, we'll continue to update cards for balance once a month every other patch. In order to cultivate a healthy metagame over time, when deciding on changes, we look to a number of metrics and collective feedback, with particularly key ones including individual card win rates, especially in their most ideal region pairing, deck win rates, and champion play rates. We also want every card to have a home, which, taken with the above framework, helps us decide which specific cards to test and ultimately change. Though again, this doesn't mean we expect all cards to be equally competitive or prevalent across modes. Now for the new, this is what I care about. For Rising Tides, we're updating some of our internal metrics to better cover metagame health. For example, we've begun looking at top meta decks over time to evaluate how well they successfully test players' skills, such as within game decision making, deck building skills, adaptability, etc. I don't really understand what you're trying to say here, Riot, but you know what? You do you. Similarly, we're more broadly analyzing which parts of the meta are occupied by top decks in order to help inform changes that encourage a wider variety of competitive archetypes. So it seems like it's a bunch of, hey, we're going to keep balancing the game. And we're going to analyze a lot of like statistics that we have on our end to try and balance the game well. I mean, that's good that they're saying that, I guess. Now for what everyone really cares about, the card changes. First up, we got Vladimir. I believe he's getting buffed. He now, let's see. He now drains. It used to be for each other attacking ally, deal 1 to it and 1 to the enemy nexus. Now it's deal 1 to that ally and drain 1 from the enemy nexus. That's a huge buff. Vladimir decks, if I remember correctly, I haven't played Vladimir too much, especially in the new set with Rising Tides. I kind of remember Vladimir the few times I played him just kind of dying from aggro decks. I guess this is good. I mean, it's obviously a buff. Like, some extra healing will be nice so you can last a little longer. I think this card's fine. The problem is, like, all the decks I see that play or that would play Vladimir kind of seem to prefer Swain and Sejuani instead of Vladimir. Maybe we'll get like Vladimir and Swain or something. No Sejuani, maybe. I don't know. What does Riot have to say? While this patch is focused on numbers changes, Vladimir has been falling short of the play rate, gameplay satisfaction, and champion resonance levels we strive for in our champs. That's true. I talked about this a few days ago on my stream once, where I was thinking to myself, Vladimir is probably in like the bottom 5 of the champions that are least played. Like Vladimir, Teemo, Anivia, Shen, and some other champion probably. Where was I? So we're making a more complex change by making Vlad's level 2 effect a drain. In addition to making Vlad feel even more like a life-draining battle mage, a lore reason, smile, this change should provide Vlad decks with additional utility and a more exciting, impactful payoff for his level up requirement. Seems good. I don't know. Vlad decks always feel like a fringe deck to me. Always like a tier 3 deck at best. I could see this buff actually pushing them up to a tier 2 deck, and maybe, honestly, even like a tier 1 deck with even more support. I like it, though. I'm not a big Vlad fan, but I think this card is going to be playable with this upgrade, this buff. Next up, a simple change here. Karma now costs 6 mana instead of 5 mana. Nothing else. That's it. The biggest thing I can see with this is you might say, like, well, that doesn't really change much, does it? You usually wait until Karma's leveled up to player. Yes, that is true, but you have now less mana. Let me read what they say, actually, before I talk too much about this. Maybe they're saying what I want to say. We want Karma to be both more difficult to protect and more taxing on your immediately available mana. Okay, that's what I was kind of saying. So we're bumping her cost to put more constraints on what else players can do on the turn they play Karma. Okay, that's what I was kind of saying there. The biggest one I can think of is in Demacia control with Lux. You can't play Karma and Unyielding Spirit in the same turn now, unless you get discounts, of course. Like now you have to like play Karma and then wait a turn until you can play Unyielding Spirit. And usually I like to Unyielding Spirit Lux over Karma, but sometimes I'll Unyielding Spirit Karma instead. So yeah, nothing much there. I think Karma decks will be fine. Very rarely you would have to play her on turn 5. One less mana to play around with is a nerf, yes, but it's not a big nerf. I think Karma decks will still be safe. Like, if you ever had to play Karma on turn 5, you're probably in a bad matchup anyway. So yeah, it's a nerf, but not a big one, so it should be fine. Next up, well, we see Karma's, of course, her leveled up form. Next up, we got Shen. I was talking about Shen and how he was, in my opinion, one of the least played champs. I honestly haven't seen a Shen since the new set has dropped. I didn't see many Shens before the new set dropped either, but I have played Shen a little bit myself. It seems Shen's getting only a small buff. He's going to be a 3/5 now. He's going to have 1 extra power, basically. 3/5, level 1. Leveled up, he'll be a 4/6. What are they saying? Shen has been amongst the least played champions for some time, especially as he tends to require including Demacia in your deck to shine. Yeah, like Shen Fiora. For now, we're boosting his power to make him more of a threat on his own, and easier to plan profitable attacks around. The only thing I can really think of that this buff does that is meaningful, in my opinion, is Shen can block Fearsome. That's it. Like, sure, it's objectively a buff. He's getting more stats. But, like, outside of, being able to block Fearsome, I'm not really, like, too excited to start brewing a Shen deck, so yeah. I don't think we'll see too much play with Shen here. And Fearsome's not even that prevalent right now outside of what, Elise? And I mean, Fiora kind of already was able to deal with Elise anyway. Anyway, though, it's a buff, it's nice, but Shen still kind of sucks. Next, who have we got? We got Vi. 5 mana, 2/4. All right, she lost 1 health. Why though? Tell me why, Riot. While Vi doesn't offer a particularly game-warping effect like some champions, she's overperforming in multiple decks due to the raw strength of her baseline stats. We want to adjust her to be less of a generalist best-in-slot champion for Piltover and Zon, while retaining most of her power in decks that synergize with her kit. I don't think this is going to kill Vi. It seems like they're trying to avoid a Hecarim problem. If you weren't here or you just don't remember from the time where Hecarim was everywhere, where we had just Hecarim the game, if you saw Shadow Isles, they were probably playing 3 Hecarims because he was just so strong. There was a lot to talk about with Hecarim. He's gotten a lot of nerfs, actually. Used to be bigger. The guys he summoned were bigger. Lots of things. Seems like they don't like that. Where it's just the champions like doesn't really need much building around. It seems like they want the champions to be more built around instead of just like, this card's good, just slam 3 of it in the deck. I still think you can slam 3 Vi's in your deck because she's still good. Like the tough is great, the challenger's great. I guess the biggest issue is now like she can't. Well, she can still do it, but she's gonna have trouble with things that have 5 attack. The biggest thing I can think of is Radiant Guardian. She doesn't line up that well against Radiant Guardian now. Used to be she could kill a Radiant Guardian if she's a 6 power or higher. Kill a Radiant Guardian and live. Now she's gonna just trade with the Radiant Guardian. That card's another card I really don't like. Nerf Radiant Guardian. But yeah, I think this card is a fair nerf. It did feel like Vi was a little too much play in decks that were like, she's just a good card, just play her. Like Demacia mid was sometimes playing just Vi because again, she's really good. And she was a little tough to deal with. So I feel this nerf is fair. I like Karina control though, and I like Vi stuff in general, but it feels like a fine nerf. Shouldn't completely destroy, and she should still be playable in my opinion. Next up. Oh, well, speaking of Hecarim, also seems like he's the last of the champions. Hecarim, nothing big here, just getting an extra power. He's going to be a 5/5 now? Yep. Is that even that useful? Why are you just giving him 1 extra power? I haven't seen much Hecarim, in all honesty, since the changes. Hecarim's stat line sometimes made it a bit too difficult to find profitable attacks. So we're bumping his power to help him attack into more board states and improve his gameplay, satisfaction, and overall effectiveness. Sure. I mean, like, there's not much to talk about here. I don't think that's the reason not many people were playing Hecarim. I think the reason not many people were playing Hecarim was he kind of sucks at the moment. Like, I've seen some people play things like Shark Chariots and stuff, and maybe, like, I've even seen some people put a Hecarim in They Who Endure decks to have extra things just die. I've seen some people play, like, weird Shark Chariot, Hecarim, Maokai decks to have even more stuff die for Maokai. I haven't been impressed by those decks, by the way. They felt kind of bad. I mean, like, it's a buff, so, any help is welcome for Hecarim, I guess. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, a 5/5 for 6 with Overwhelm is underwhelming, so you really need to build around him. And I guess, like, looking at their statistics, they probably were seeing that Hecarim had dropped in playability a lot. And they wanted to see people play him. So they gave him basically a pity buff, really. Still don't really think he's going to be that heavily played. Anyway, though. It seems that is the last of the champions, so let's get into followers and spells. Let's just keep 2 cards on the screen at once. First up, Great Horn Companion. Um, okay. It's now a 5 mana 5/5. That is okay, I guess. You don't. I mean, I still don't think this card should be played and constructed, in all honesty. I think I gave this card like a 0 or maybe a 1 in my rating series. I honestly don't think this card is meant for constructed. Let's see what they said. We want to move some of Grizzled Ranger's former power, see below, up the curve, giving dedicated scout decks more viable options. I'd honestly rather just play like the 5/4 Challenger or the Radiant Guardian over this guy. Or Garen. Of course, this is also a slight buff to Remembrance when it pulls you a Great Horn. That is true, I guess. I always kind of hate it when I get a Great Horn off of Remembrance, but I guess this is nice. So yeah, I still don't think you should see this card in Constructed outside of outside of it being randomly generated. Next up though, we got Grizzled Ranger. I like this nerf. It is now a 3/1. Badger Bear also got nerf. We'll look at that later. I really like this nerf. On my stream, a lot of people and myself have complained about Ranger and Badger Bear. And I was like, I could see like Ranger getting 1 less power. Some people were like, what about like making it 5 mana? I was like, at 5 mana, I think it kind of sucks. So let's see what they have to say. Grizzled Ranger is among the most value-heavy followers in the game. That is true. Some of my viewers were saying how like it's a 4 mana deal 8 because 4 mana comes down, swings as a 4/1. Even if it dies, it's at least behind a 4/4, which swings in again. Also, it curves really well into Radiant Guardian. 4 mana 4/1 swings in. Maybe they block it, and then like you play a 4 mana. You play this guy on your opponent's turn. They pass to you. You have 5 mana, swing in. They block it, or they kill it with like Vile Feast or something. It dies. Play Radiant Guardian, swing in again. Oh boy. So let's see exactly what they say. Not only is it resilient, but Scout allows a ranger to push a ton of damage. Like I said, force opponents to make suboptimal trades and ultimately allow Demacia players a mid-game advantage that's been feeling a bit too free. We're reducing Ranger's power and loyal Badger Bears to allow players more flexibility and counterplay in deciding when and how to block him. I mean, I'm just glad that this guy's getting nerfed a bit. I even saw some people say, like, what if you remove Scout from him? I'm like, I feel like they would not want to remove Scout because this is probably like this is probably the premier most played Scout card. I honestly can't think of another Scout card besides like what, Quinn, that gets played that much. Next up, we got Laurent Chevalier. The Chevalier, in my honest opinion, I think this card is actually sort of playable. It's just getting 1 more health. That is big. In my opinion, 1 health and 2 health is a huge difference. Getting out of Vile Feast range, Make It Rain range, Withering Wail, and various other ping effects is very huge. The other breakpoint in terms of health, I think, is like between 3 and 4 in terms of health, which is why Badger Bear, I think, was so good. Out of Get Excited range, Grasp range, etc., etc. Let's see what they say about Chevalier. The Chevalier was a bit too fragile for its cost to realistically chase the dream of multiple triggers. It deserves a boost on its own, and we've got a good opportunity given that Demacia is seeing a few nerfs in this patch. Every time I have tried to build this guy, it has sucked. I've played like some Shen Fiora decks before this set came out, where I played like the Chevalier as a one of, as basically a backup Fiora, as a really bad draw card. Basically, it's like, oh, I don't have Fiora, I'll use this guy, and then like use like Shen to give this guy barrier over and over. Now Shen's getting above, so maybe we can go and look at like Shen, Fiora, Chevalier decks again. Something heavy barrier stuff. I don't think so. I think 4 mana is just a little too much, but hey, who knows? The health is nice, so we'll see. I still don't think this guy's good enough. I think the card is good because it's like really, I don't know, inconsistent card draw. if that makes sense. He's not even drawing from your deck, really. I don't know. Yeah, it's like I think he's good, and I also think he's just not playable. I also just like the card. Next up, though, we got Loyal Badger Bear. If you've been playing any kind of Runeterra these past few weeks, you know about this guy. He was a 3-mana 4/4. He's getting nerfed to a 3-mana 3/4. I still think he's playable as a 3/4. Even as a 3 of. Mostly because, like, look at the 3-drop slot in Demacia. You don't really have much. You got, like, Fiora. And she's a champ, so you can't put her in if you're already running other champions. Let's see what they have to say. This change overlaps with the one to Grizzled Ranger. Sure. Though Badger Bear has proven problematic on its own, particularly in expeditions, where it was pushing Demacia's general strength and raw stats a bit too far. So that is nice. Another way I was saying you could have nerfed Ranger was just nerfing the Badger Bear itself, and it seems like they went with both. They decided to nerf the Ranger and the Badger Bear. I'm gonna still at least try for a little bit to keep playing things that play Ranger and Badger Bear, because outside of mid range, basically in Demacia control, I still think the Badger Bear is playable and fine. Like, the 4 health is what I care about the most as for this card. 3 power still actually kills things. It seems nice. Like, sure, single combat's a little worse now with Badger Bear, but whatever. Like, I'll try it out. And the one card where you cared about Badger Bear having 4 power as a Demacia control player was what? Boom Crew rookie, who also has gotten a nerf. Spoilers. Next up, though, we got Standalone. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen that much Standalone since the set dropped, but I kind of still don't like it. I like the nerf, though. The nerf just kind of kills the card, in my opinion. It now costs 4 mana. And their reasoning, I think, is because they don't like people going turn 1 pass, turn 2 pass, turn 3, some elusive into Standalone. Let's see what they actually say, though. Standalone can lead to undesirable gameplay patterns, particularly when one player goes all in on one unit as early as round 3, leading to deterministic games that undermine decision making and turn too sharply on whether the opponent has the answer or is even playing the right region. We're pushing Standalone's early game potential back with a cost increase that cuts off the ability to attack on round 3 with a 3-cost unit plus Standalone combo. I do like that. The only place where I dislike it is because I like to play Fiora decks, not like Demacia mid with Fiora, but decks that actually want to win with Fiora. And of course, they play Standalone because that card's great with Fiora. But too many times I have just lost to someone going like turn 1 pass, turn 2 pass, turn 3 like Solitary Monk, Shadow Assassin, not even an elusive, but sometimes just Zed. And then they play Standalone, and I'm like, yep, I can't deal with that. And then they just protect that one Standalone unit with things like Elixir of Iron, Twin Disciplines, more Standalones even. So I kind of like the nerf. I do think it kind of kills the card, and this card's kind of bad now. But who knows? Maybe it'll still see play as like a 1 or 2 of. But I don't think so. Next up, though, we're at the first of the burn nerfs. If you don't know, for some reason, burn is really good. Like, really, really good. I believe, according to Mobalytics, they have a almost 56% win rate on ladder. That's really high, by the way, for a deck in any card game. So Rearguard is now a 3-1 instead of a 3-2. I like that. Vile Feast, it's great. Spiders in general. Omen Hawk blocks it now. What else? Make It Rain. Withering Whale, of course. Still, though, it's still a 1-mana 3/1 beat stick, which I think is fine. Because what are the other two 1-drops in the burn deck are what? The 2/1 that deals 1 when you attack with it, and the 2/1 Fearsome Spider. Of the 3, I think Rearguard might now be the weakest because it is all it has over them is just it has an extra power. I don't know. 3-1 is still like a lot of damage for 1 mana. So I don't think any burn deck will remove this for some other 1-drop. I don't think there is a 1-drop that replaces Rearguard. Maybe in the future with new sets, but at the moment I don't think so. Let's see what they say. Rising Tides has introduced much more direct Nexus damage to Runeterra. More commentary in the watch list below. And we're seeing a bit too much consistency in the most powerful variants of burn/aggro decks. Yes, they're really good. Particularly in their favored matchups. Okay. We're making targeted adjustments to Legion Rearguard and Boom Crew Rookie below to rein in some of these decks' early snowball power. Thank you. Thank you very much. When looking at the data for burn and aggro decks utilizing Legion Rearguard, we saw that a round 1 Rearguard often gave decks a significant boost in win rate compared to other cards when played on curve. I always did feel like whenever I played against a burn deck, Rearguard always felt like the best start a burn player could have. Unless they wanted to play the Spider because you played a 1-drop too, in which case, eh. Rearguard provides too much punishment potential for a simple 1-drop, and we don't want players to feel so consistently and immediately behind, or that they've already lost, for a lack of a suitable round 1 answer. This adjustment also evens out counterplay for Rearguard or to Rearguard among the various regions. I like this nerf. I feel like it's fine that we have strong 1-drops and 2-drops because they don't want the game to turn into a game where you go turn 1 pass, turn 2 pass, turn 3 do something and spell mana, aka turn 3 elusive standalone, as we can see from before. So I think this is a fair nerf that will keep the card alive and playable as an aggro card like it should be. Next up, another 2 cards here. We got Kindly Tyrant Keeper. He's now 3 mana 3/3. He is now Earthen Ring Farseer from Hearthstone. Hello. Healing is part of Freljord's regional identity. As news to me, in all honesty. But hasn't been as available to non-ramp decks as we'd like. Outside of like Catalyst of Aeons, I can't really think of too much healing that's playable in Freljord. A general usability boost for Tavern Keeper should make it appealing as a flex spot for a wider range of Freljord decks. I mean, Earthen Ring Farseer saw play in Hearthstone, so I can see this probably getting played as like maybe a 1 or 2 of in the right deck. I just don't know what kind of deck would want this card right now. Also, Freljord kind of sucks is the other problem at the moment. Too many Bilgewater decks running around. Not even that there's a lot of Bilgewater decks, too much like Bilgewater just stealing cards. And it's like, okay, cool, I buffed my cards. Oh no, you stole my cards that I just buffed. Still though, this is good. It's a nice buff. Should put this guy in a playability. Also, he can now block Fearsome, which is always a cool thing. Your opponent plays like Elise, you play Tavern Keeper, heal something up, and then you have a 3/3 to block Elise. That's cute. Next up though, Deep Meditation. This card is now 5 mana. This is one of the cards I was saying was one of the more powerful cards from the set that people were kind of ignoring in terms of power, because it's not just like, it's not a flashy powerful card. It's not like Grizzled Ranger or something. It's not coming down and you're really like, oh no, what do I do? But it's like, it's quietly strong because it always fetches spells, so it can just keep feeding itself. It gets you play this, Deep Meditation gets you more spells, it gets you more spells. You play 1-ofs in your deck, like a 1-of Unyielding Spirit. It draws these because it's only drawing spells, so on and so forth. Let's see what they have to say. Deep Meditation provided too much overall value at its old cost, offering high redundancy, card advantage, and consistent spellcasting. While this card should be a high performer in dedicated spell decks, it was doing a bit too much all around, even at its regularly costed floor. Okay, yeah, I agree. Given that Ionia has a large variety of efficient and powerful tools, we want the access to them offered by Deep Meditation to be more difficult for general Ionia decks to tap into. I like it. One thing I can think of that this buff does that's not really, or this nerf, sorry, that this nerf does that is kind of a small buff is Heimerdinger Videx. If I remember correctly, the 4-mana turret is the 4/1 fearsome, while the 5-mana turret it's a 5-mana 5/1 quick attack. But more importantly, discount this by 2, you get a 3-mana spell. 3-mana spell, Heimerdinger, 3/1 elusives, Heimerdinger boys. Still though, this is obviously a nerf. That's it. I still think the card is playable though. You just gotta be like you can't really keep this now, I think, in your opening hand. Maybe as a one of in control matchups, but even against slower mid-range decks, I don't think you can keep it now. Like I've seen some people do. So yeah. I think it's still playable. It's not nerfed into unplayability, but might not play all 3 of them anymore. Maybe you only play like 2 of them now. Because that is a lot of mana. You really need to activate the you need to activate the discount, I feel. If you're not activating the discount, you're paying a lot of mana just to draw 2 spells. Next up though, what have we got? We got Boom Crew Rookie. I love this nerf. Also, Boom Crew Rookie, you've been having a rough time with your stats. You started as a 0/4, you became a 1/4, and now you're a 1/3. I like that nerf though, because now he actually dies to stuff. Again, like I said earlier, the difference between 3 and 4 health is huge. Now he dies to things like Grasp, Get Excited, Gotcha, and other such things. And Fiora as well. Boom Crew Rookie is a standout card in burn-based aggro decks with its high health and attack trigger, allowing for consistent Nexus damage over time. Decreasing its health makes the rookie more answerable through both removal and combat. Oh, yeah, of course, you can now block it too as well. Giving opponents a better shot at preventing multiple triggers from hitting their Nexus. Now, I will say that I have played some Boom Crew Rookie in non-burn decks, like plunder-based decks, where I'm like, okay, I just want Boom Crew Rookie here to basically guarantee a plunder. And I'm like, I don't really care about the damage. I don't really care about his stats. So I think I'll still play him, but that is it's going to be like a little bit tougher. But the biggest thing is the whole nerf to burn. I'll gladly take the hit for my plunder decks to have burn cry. Because I hate burn. I'm a control player. I'm sorry. Next up, though, we got Brood Awakening. This card is all over the place. It was 6 mana. It got buffed to 5 mana. It's getting nerfed back down to 6 mana. It's like, this is where it's like, I bet they wish they could give you half mana or something. Make it cost 5.5. Let's see what they have to say. We're reverting a change we made to Brood Awakening during beta, where we wanted to buff spider decks in the wake of nerfs to Mark of the Isles, Crowd Favorite, and Frenzied Skitterer. In the end, this change overly pushed the raw efficiency of Brood Awakening to the extent that it became overly potent as a defensive tool in control decks or kill your own unit combo decks. I was gonna say, this feels bad for Karina Control. Karina Control got hit with 2 nerfs then. Vi got nerfed and Brood Awakening got nerfed. Before, I feel like they want Brood Awakening. With this nerf, it's basically saying, like, we only want spider decks to play Brood Awakening, it seems. I don't know, though. I think this will be too slow for Karina decks, but Karina decks will probably still play it anyway because it's not like they have anything better, in all honesty. I'm not sure, though. Karina Control already was like tier 2, I think, in my opinion. And the nerf to Vi and Brood Awakening kind of really hurt them and really hurt their mid game, which is kind of where they struggle. So, I don't know. Before Brood Awakening costed 5 mana, back when it originally costed 6 mana, you didn't really see it too much, in all honesty. Most people thought it was like way too expensive at 6 mana. Maybe now, though, after people played it at 5 mana, they'll gladly pay an extra mana to keep getting that effect. Especially for control decks. Who knows? Next up, we got Long Tooth. There's nothing much to say here. He's a 5/2. I've said it a million times. An extra health is great. Going from 1 to 2 is great. Vile Feast, Make It Rain, Withering Wail, etc., etc. I don't know. Chum the Waters. I've tried out Chum the Waters as a bad-ish removal spell. My problem I always ran into was like Vile Feast, so I think this will be fine. This actually might make it so you can play Chum the Waters as a bad removal spell now. I mean, 4 mana to get a 5/2 Overwhelm is pretty good. Because if I remember correctly, Chum the Waters gives something vulnerable too, so, that's nice. Anyway, though, let's see here. We're adjusting Longtooth to allow Chum the Waters to be a bit less punishable and more reliable. Cool. Especially in expeditions where associated decks have been struggling. Chum the Waters can now also be played without an enemy unit in play. While this is actually a bug fix, it should allow for added versatility. I was gonna say, I felt like you always could play it. Oh well. Next up, though, Monkey Idol. 3 mana 0/5 now instead of a 0/4. Giving Monkey Idol the potential to create another monkey should make the effect more meaningful and create more interesting and satisfying decisions around when to play it. I still think this card is bad. Again, like, I don't really know the kind of deck that wants this. Maybe just Expedition stuff, Expedition Plunder, maybe? I don't really know again. Oh well. I believe we got at least one more card. Yeah, we got the Slot Bot. Not much to say here. Got +1/+1. He's now a 3 mana 1/4. Seems fine. I'm still not a fan of the Slot Bot. The effect is just too slow, I think. And again, like, it's hard to plan your turns around it. It's like, okay, you don't know, like, at the current turn, you're like, okay, I want to do this, this, and this, and then I'll do this the next turn. You can't really plan your turns out that well because it's like, okay, what is Slotbot going to be next turn? Will it be like a 4/6 or something? Will it be like a 1/8? Will it be like an 8/1? You don't really know. They don't have much text here. What do they say? We're giving Slotbot a simple stat boost to help get the reel spinning a bit more quickly. Okay. Still don't think he's playable. I guess this means he's better in Expedition. I feel like if you ever had to play Slotbot in Expedition, it kind of felt bad. Now, I still would not want to play Slotbot in Expedition, but now it's like, he's not terrible, I think, now in Expedition. But that's it. Next up, what have we got? We got the watch list. We got like a few things here. First up, Unyielding Spirit. That's the 8 mana, give a unit, can't die or take damage, if I remember correctly. I can't remember the exact wording. A lot of people have said that card needed to get nerfed. I guess that's why it's on the watch list. My only issue with the card was it being able to get drawn by Deep Meditation very consistently. And a lot of people play this card. I think this card is a card that's way overplayed for how much it costs and how bad it is in some situations. Basically, Will of Ionia. Haha. Let's see what they have to say. Unyielding Spirit has been among the more contentious cards in Rising Tides due to its powerful burst speed effect and ability to circumvent opponents' interaction. I honestly would like to see it go to fast speed, I'll say that real quick. This card offers some unique challenges in adjusting. As a quick numbers change is more likely to just push the card out of playability rather than addressing any core issues. I kind of agree. If it was 9 mana, I don't think it would see any play at all. So for now, we're watch listing it while considering adjustments. I could see this card in a month becoming a fast spell. That's it. Next up, Pilfered Goods and Card Sealing. Hey, I called it. I said I think Pilfered Goods is one of the stronger cards. That's just quietly just really strong. Let's see what they have to say, though. Losing against your own cards when an opponent draws from your deck can be a frustrating experience. Priest from Hearthstone says hello. Especially if you're playing with deck buffing Freljord effects. Yeah, it's why Freljord's not good now, Riot. And Freljord kind of just sucks in general at the moment, outside of Bilgewater stealing stuff. Pilfered Goods is a particular culprit, as its power level is rather high, and drawing multiple cards is more likely to create stole the perfect card situations. Yes, very true. We're investigating possible adjustments that can ease some of the pain surrounding the mechanic. All I can really think of for Pilfered Goods is either it goes to fast speed, which I don't think would change too much, or goes to 3 mana. Another thing I've seen some people say that I don't know if I'd like or hate is for the stolen cards to be revealed so you know what your opponent stole from you. So you can be like, okay, my opponent stole my, I don't know, they stole my atrocity. I should be careful of atrocities now. They stole Mystic Shot. I should probably play around Mystic Shots now. I'm not sure if that would be a good or bad change. It's obviously a nerf if stolen cards were always revealed, but not sure. I'll be honest with you, I don't really have much of a problem outside of stealing cards. It's just pilfered goods. That's it. And not because it's stealing cards, but because its rate is so good. 2 mana, draw 2 cards, and sure, the cards are drawn from your opponent's deck, and they might not synergize with your deck that well, but it's still really nice. Anyway, though, next up, Nexus damage and Rising Tides. Rising Tides thematics and mechanics, pirates, plunder, Noxian siege weapons, etc., have significantly increased the amount of direct Nexus damage available to players. We've seen some problematic, potentially overloaded Nexus damage decks arise as a result. Yeah, we call them burn. And have made some targeted adjustments in this patch aimed at making early damage more preventable. Okay. Access to healing is another potential lever for the regions that boast it, and we've adjusted a few cards to provide better options. The scope of this issue is rather large, so we'll continue to monitor it and the effects of the changes in this patch over time. Well, that's true. I'm glad they are going to keep an eye on it because I do feel like healing is a little lackluster in this game. Like, sure, Shadow Isles has some great healing, but outside of Shadow Isles, other regions healing, like Freljord has okay healing thanks to now the Innkeeper and I don't know what. I forgot the 5 mana ramp spell name. But whatever the ramp spell name is. I even said it earlier today. Oh well. But yeah, I could see them changing something. I've seen some people say like they wish they could start with more health, like 25 health. They could heal over 20. These are all viable options, but that's like a big undertaking to rework a lot of numbers if you want to start with more health or just heal above 20. So don't know if we'll do that. Maybe we'll get something equivalent to armor from Hearthstone eventually. I could see that happening. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Demacia or Noxus could have something like that. I could see that. Next up, though, Karma and Ezreal. We've shared some thoughts on these two. Okay, there's a link which you can click. Again, I'll include a link below if you want to see these patch notes for yourself. We've shared some thoughts on these two towards the end of the beta, detailing some of our problems with their existing designs. We've adjusted Karma in this patch, and Ezreal has seen a drop in win rate since the release of Rising Tides. That's kind of cause, like, Burn has kept Ezreal out, I think. I think Ezreal is still good, it's just Burn. And now that Burn's getting nerfed, I feel like Ezreal might actually be poised to take over. Ionia did get hit by a Deep Meditation nerf, though, so, yeah. And of course the Karma nerf. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it'll be fine. Let's see what else I have to say. As you said, at the moment, we're just continuing to monitor both champs. Okay. I've seen a lot of people complain about Ezreal, too. I like Ezreal existing because I'm not a big combo player, but I like combo existing at least, even though I'm a control player and usually combo feasts upon control decks. I still like it to exist in the game because it helps develop a healthy meta game. Let's see what else I have to say here. Rules text clarity. We're updating rules text on a bunch of cards for clarity. Thank you for your feedback since launch on improvements we could make. As we've mentioned before, we expect to continue making similar updates over time, especially as we add new content. Highlights in this batch include changes to clarify enemy targeting as well as various cards that draw from your opponent's deck, now correctly calling out that they only draw non-champ cards. That's good. And these are all the cards. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I assume that means Pilfered Goods could only draw non-champions then. I'll be honest with you, I never actually knew that, but it makes sense. So, and I think that's it for cards. All we've got is some cosmetic stuff. Again, make sure, if you care, go and claim your free Rainbow Poro, and this emote is such a cute emote. Look at that cute, happy Poro. Also, this Poro is very cute too. I'm using the closed beta bluish Poro, but I'll probably switch to this Poro before they release a Guardian that I actually want to buy. So far, there hasn't been a Guardian I actually want yet, outside of like maybe the Ghost Shark. Also, we got a board. I don't know if you're getting the board for free too, because it just says Guardian and emote in this bundle for 0 coins. So I feel like the board's gonna cost $10. I think it's like 990 coins for a board on average. I don't know how much they cost. In all honesty, I've only bought one board once, and that's the Jinx board. But honestly, this is a really nice looking board. I like it, but that's because I like the aesthetic of like video game stuff. So like, if I didn't have the Jinx board, I would probably buy this board in all honesty. But I got the Jinx board. I'm good. Thank you, but also we got new emotes. I gotta get the Elise emote. They made an emote that I want. Look at that Elise emote. Also, Teemo emote and Ezreal emote look pretty nice too. I don't like this Draven emote. This Draven emote it's okay. It's not bad. It's just okay. I guess it's more of like, compared to these other 3 emotes, the Draven one's just okay compared to these 3, which are great. I gotta buy the Elise one. Also, Arcady card back. Looks pretty sweet. I'd also assume we're gonna have to buy this, unlike the free Poro and free badge or badge emote. So yeah, I believe that's it though for cosmetics. Yeah, and then we have a bunch of expedition archetype changes. Don't really know much about expedition. I don't play much expedition. I don't feel confident in talking about it, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. Only thing I will say is that this is nice. Rising Tide archetypes are no longer twice as likely to appear in initial champ picks. I wonder if they'll do that again in the future. I wonder if we'll even get more regions in the future. I assume we'll get more regions in the future, but I doubt it will be like every single set, obviously. But yeah, this is nice. I've heard from people who actually play expeditions a lot that Deep and Bilgewater was very popular. So if you like it, if you like expeditions and you didn't like playing against Rising Tide stuff, this is for you. As you can see, lots of changes. Stuff is getting added. Stuff is getting removed. You know, your standard expedition stuff. That's pretty much it. Oh, what does the miscellaneous say? Also, language support. We've added additional language support to Runeterra. New players should be correctly auto-detected, while existing players can swap languages. And now Polish is being supported. Yay. Also, miscellaneous. Due to a rare bug that could cause it to show incorrect information, we're temporarily disabling the Oracle's Eye from functioning while it's your opponent's turn to act, i.e., while you can't do anything. All right. Functionality remains normal while it's your turn to act. We'll fix the bug with patch 1.3 in 2 weeks and revert this change. Okay. And just some bug fixes, and that's it. Thank you, Dylan Buckner? Buckner? Sorry, I butchered your name, probably. But yes, that is going to be it for today's patch analysis. That's a fairly long video. That's about 50 minutes now. I like this patch. I really, really like it. It seems like they have identified, in my opinion, the things that are very problematic, and unlike other card games I've played, have actually taken action instead of just letting them sit there for months on end and just sit there and terrorize people forever. And it seems like they actually, are nerfing things in a good manner while actually lowering the power level on cards without completely killing the card, like Badger Bear and Grizzled Ranger. I like that. I like that a lot from the compared to the balance philosophy I've seen of other games where there's like, this card's good, kill it. Not playable. Now, don't ask me how League nerfs and buffs stuff. I've heard in League, when a champion is strong, they just destroy the champion. And they're like, yeah, this champion's like, kill it with nerfs. Anyway, though, as for my thoughts as to what's going to happen with the meta, I think Deep might become a good deck, like Shadow Isles Bilgewater. It was already at a playable tier 2 deck in my opinion. It didn't get touched really at all. Also, I think Ezreal might see a surge in play on the ladder. Sure, Ionia got hit a little bit though, but Burn, in my opinion, held back Ezreal decks. So maybe with Burn taking a hit, and if less people play Burn too, Ezreal might come back and start to terrorize people. I think Burn will still exist though. I think they have to revert back to their old ways of actually playing champions. For example, I think Burn will have to go back to playing Darius now. Maybe a Draven as well. Maybe Jinx Draven or something. I don't think you should play Jinx Draven. I like Darius better, in my opinion. Again, I'm not an aggro player though, but yeah, I like Darius. Ooh, daddy. Anyway, though, that's really it. I don't really have much else to say. I hope you all liked me going through this patch notes and just analyzing them. I hope you all learned something here. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like or a comment down below. If you guys would like to keep up with the channel as I post more and more Runeterra content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, I stream pretty much every single day. I've been playing a lot of Runeterra on my stream, pretty much only Runeterra. Occasionally something else, but mostly just Runeterra. Go check me out on Twitch TV as well. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all for watching. I hope you're going to have a lot of fun in Runeterra, especially with this new patch. Love it. Again, though, thank you all for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next video that I make. And until I see you guys again, bye!